In a world obsessed with perfection and validation, authenticity has become both a struggle and an act of rebellion. Yo, what's up YouTube? Welcome back. In this video, we'll be comparing the coming-of-age fantasy film Stardust, directed by Matthew Vaughn in 2007, and the dystopian film Nosedive, directed by Joe Wright in 2016.
For context, Stardust constructs Tristan, a sharp boy who ventures into a magical realm in search of a fallen star, uncovering themes of love, ambition, and transformation. On the other hand, Nosedive constructs Lacey, an insecure office worker living in a smiley, status-obsessed world who finds her way to join an old friend as one of society's elites.
The utilization of genre-specific narrative structure, character archetypes, and genre conventions represent the values and attitudes of authenticity against artificiality, illusion of perfection, and self-realization.
Both texts use their essential story structure to define what depicts virtue and social mobility within their worlds. Stardust establishes the conventions of the hero's journey to validate inherent morals as the ultimate path to success. Tristan's qualification for the throne of Stormhold is his selfless, compassionate character, which is repeatedly tested and proven by his refusal to harm Yvain for the royal ruby. This exemplifies the story's attitude, where real virtue is an intrinsic quality and authenticated through moral choices rather than external achievements. The throne of Stormhold is not won by birthright, violence, or material wealth. It is claimed by proven virtue, elevating the value of personal development and spiritual wealth over physical possession.
Conversely, Nosedive utilizes dystopian genre conventions and extrapolates a world where social mobility is determined by quantifiable public validation, which is the social media ratings. The protagonist, Lacey, has a whole life dominated by a rating system that replaces subjective moral worth with external statistics. The social hierarchy is rigid, and access to human necessity is based on maintaining a high score, rendering the society's values as purely performative and numerical. The society punishes those whose ratings drop, stripping them of privileges, which frames worth as fragile. This system removes all subjective or moral criteria, as Lacey's value is represented as a number that must be constantly maintained through socially acceptable behavior. Ultimately, Stardust evaluates that genuine love and kindness provide a secure and lasting form of virtue, whereas Nosedive suggests that relying on public validation creates a toxic form of worth that is easily shattered.
The illusion of perfection is portrayed in Stardust and Nosedive as destructive social ideal that distorts self-worth and authenticity. In Stardust, the utilization of fairy tale character archetypes of Victoria and Lemire reveal that destructive nature of perfectionism. Victoria's vanity and Lemire's obsession with eternal youth convey how the pursuit of beauty and status leads to moral decay, reinforcing the genre's caution against superficiality. In contrast, the motif for Yvain's inner light symbolizes genuine virtue, revealing that true integrity comes from sincerity and compassion rather than appearance.
Similarly, Nosedive employs the protagonist archetype and visual codes to expose the fragility of perfection in a status-driven society. Lacey's dependence on ratings and validation reflects on how modern social hierarchies are built on artificial performance. The film's pastel palette and forced smiles create an aesthetic of false positivity, symbolizing the suffocating expectations of constant perfection. This is reinforced by Lacey's mental breakdown, which exposes how fake and exhausting that ideal is. Overall, both texts reveal that perfection is an illusion, sustained by insecurity and social expectation, highlighting the danger of chasing perfection. They suggest that imperfection and honesty are more human and fulfilling than maintaining a flawless image.
Both texts also link the protagonist's self-realization to their interaction with generic world unique forces, but with opposite results. The conventions of fantasy dictate that transformation must be a positive, aspirational metamorphosis that is displayed to the world. Tristan undergoes a literal physical transformation under the care of Captain Shakespeare, where he is stripped away from his shop boy attire, given a stylish haircut, and taught how to fence. This metamorphosis scene, which is a common trope in the fantasy genre, signifies Tristan's inner growth and newfound confidence that is immediately reflected in his appearance, completing his passage from naive boy to hero.
In contrast, The conventions of dystopian sci-fi reflect that self-realization can only be achieved through the destruction of Lucy's technologically dependent persona. As her rating plummets, her fall is mirrored by her deteriorated appearance, her being dirty and tear-stained, ultimately losing the mobile device that links her to the rating system. This subtractive transformation reveals that true self-realization in Lucy's world is not gained through magic, but is violently shown when the false performing self are stripped away by social failure. This contrast reveals that Stardust values self-realization that is built up, whereas Nosedive values a self-realization that is desperately reclaimed through the rejection of technological conformity. Ultimately, the conflicting generic treatments of transformation reinforce the central conflict between moral character and public quantified worth. So guys, that wraps up today's video. Overall, Stardust and Nosedive use the generic conventions of their respective genres, fantasy and dystopian, to explore how authenticity and self-worth are shaped by social expectations.
Through the hero's journey and moral archetypes, Stardust reinforces the value of genuine virtue and transformation driven by compassion. In contrast, Nosedive manipulates dystopian conventions to critique artificiality and the illusion of perfection. Together, these texts reveal that while genre conventions shape distinct worlds, they ultimately converge on the same message. True self-realization and moral integrity can only emerge when individuals reject illusion and embrace authenticity.
So guys, before you go, make sure to smash that subscribe button, like and comment if you want more videos like this. We're currently on a road to 1 million, so make sure you're part of the before 1 million gang before it's too late.
See you next time!